Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this beauty 2015 Mercedes S63s with the 5.5 liter B-turbo V8 with 576 brake horsepower. Right, I don't know if you can see just by looking like this at the car, but I'm sure you can see it. Can you see the difference at the top of the tire and wheel arch and that one at the front? And no, that's not deliberately, and that's an issue on the front suspension. So let me take you a little bit through the story. The car had an issue with the ABC system, which I believe is something to do with the suspension. And apparently, according to the guy, this was exactly what I was told. The tandem, I'm not familiar with this car whatsoever, never worked on one of them. I think his tandem pump failed. He had his mechanic to replace the pump, but after that the car stayed like that. He took it to Mercedes. Mercedes refused to work on the car because the car has a set of coilovers installed. So I think they are manually adjusted or adjustable, but the car, I believe, does have adjustable suspension, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really sure, guys. I never worked on one, and no, you don't need to be an expert to work on something that you never worked before. You just need to approach things with an open mind, with a learning attitude, and you will learn about it, and I'm sure we'll figure out what's wrong with this. But basically, guys, long story short, all the guy wants is the car to be raised a little bit at the front to stay at the same level as it is at the back. The car was fine before. It only happened after that pump failure. So that's it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the car to here, because it's going to be easier to work on, and we're going to plug it in, see what we have. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what to expect. But yeah, let's gonna move it. But just before, just in case it was a little bit of glare, so here is the difference. So you can have, I'm up about 2 fingers maybe like that. Okay, that I can do in there. And at the front, the tire is literally sunk inside, so there's nothing. Yeah, it doesn't look very good. And I think, if I've seen this correctly yesterday, very quickly at glance, yeah, look at that. The tire has been literally rubbing here. Damn it. Wow. It looks like this car is wrapped. Yeah, the car is wrapped, look. Okay. I've definitely seen something that on a car like this, guys, this used steel is about 35 grand car. Everything you see carbon is just this sort of stuff glued everywhere. Anyway, let's gonna get inside. And let's start this thing. This thing is fitted with a ghost alarm. I've been already told what I need to do. So I'm going to start the car. As I said, I'm going to move it to that side. And let's gonna scan it, try to see if we can figure out what's wrong. Man, this is noisy. What a cold start. Wow. Wow. Right. Oh, this is very nice. This is very nice. Look at this. Wow. Look at that. Really nice. Really nice. Okay, so I plugged in the Maxi Cs. I've not even gone into the car yet, but the first thing I've done, or I've tried to do, is now a couple things on this car. Like a car like this, I don't know, it's a little bit weird to me, but I found so little things. Look, these buttons are all sticky, as if something has been dropped here. What a shame on a car like this. Crap. Anyway, I found things like this. Can you see there? That marking there? Can you see it? Can you see that? So these here, look, you see this? Is rubbing there. Am I gonna try to see if these screws are proper screwed in? But it's these little things that I don't know. Anyway, the first thing I've done is, it looks like there is at least no faults there. So all these buttons are working. Suspension type is working. I've raised the car, and as you can see, the car raised. Can you see the difference now? Look at that. And the front also raised. Look at that. So it looks like the suspension is working. And now let me drop the car down. I might need to close the door for that. So if I do this, the car should, yeah, it should drop now to the normal, let's say, riding height. So we're gonna allow it to drop. It's still dropping. I can feel it's still dropping. I think it's dropped now. Let's just have a look. Yeah, it's definitely dropped, as you can see. Again, 2 fingers, like I've showed you earlier. 2 fingers. And obviously, again, it's sunk inside the wheel arch at the front. This wrap is absolutely crap. Look at that. Oh man. Jesus, it's not very good. Anyway, right, let's go and scan the car, see if there's any faults on the suspension system, etc., and try to figure out how we tell the car that we want the front a little bit higher than it is at the moment. So looking at this, I think it's going to be in the chassis, and I think it's going to be this ADS suspension. I was looking for some ABC stuff. I don't see nothing here for that. I guess it's going to be there. Let me see if it's there. I'm not sure if it's this or not, but so no fault codes detected. So we have a good thing here. Let me just see if this has anything to do with on live data. Okay, level sensors. Is that what it is? Pressure sensors. Yeah, so it's going to be there. There we go. So I think it's going to be this. Left front level sensor, right front. Okay, so I think it's going to be this. So let me see if the Maxi has anything to actually do this, because I don't have a clue how this is done. Never touched such system. Teaching process. Let me see if the teaching process has anything to do. Level calibration. There we go. So there we go. ABC lateral. Okay, so it's going to be this. Now the problem with this is I would love to go into a level surface to do this. I don't know what entitles, so let me see if I can go through this, try to figure out what I need to do, and would it worth to connect Zentry, because Zentry will give me probably better instructions than the Maxi is. It might worth, because I don't want to mess these up. So yeah, let me think. Let me go through some stuff and try to see how we're going to do this. Either way, I'll take you through. So I've done a calibration. I'm going to do a second one just to show you. As you can see, the front of the car now is pretty much the same as the back. I'm just going to do it again so you guys can see what the car does. So this here, guys, is close to the school where my little one, well, you probably can hear them screaming. And these, I found that this area here, straight after that drain cover there, is absolutely flat, and that's usually where I come to do the calibrations. There we go. Obviously guys, before I came here I made sure the tires were all at the right pressure. And now I press continue. Calibration successful. And as you can see, let me just put the tool in there. So we have a little bit more here at the back now, and we do have, well, pretty much the same at the front. So I'm quite happy with the way the car is now. I think, just hope the owner is going to be happy as well. Now let me, I got a tape measure because I thought I would have to take some measurements, but the car doesn't ask for any measurements. As you've seen what the car does, it goes all the way up, goes all the way down, and then from those two measurements he knows where it should go in the middle. I'm sure there is ways to calibrate now the car lower if it has to be lowered, but I'm not sure which. I think it's not going to be the level, because the level is going to be to see how the car is like this. So that's then on the calibration of stroke of suspension struts. So that's what is done. I haven't done any reset of calibration values because I didn't want to mess the level. Lateral acceleration, vehicle load condition comparison, that's it. That's all we did for now, so I think it's fixed. Okay, and something is not right, because once I left that menu, stopped and start the car dropped again. Even though the calibration said successfully, when I'm trying to do the level, something's not right in there with that sensor. I'm not sure. I was trying to, because after doing that the car was left a little bit too high in my opinion, so I was trying to lower it just a tiny bit to look, just, you see now, just to look a little bit more aggressive, and as you can see it's pretty much spot on now. Okay, I think I like the way it looks now. It looks really nice. However, the calibration, or the level calibration, failed because that sensor, although the car is in the right position because I measured it with the tape, that sensor is not reading right. So I think I'm going to drive back home and lift the rear of the car and try to understand what's going on in there. Okay, and with this apparatus, because I have the ramps on this one, so what I've done is I put 2 planks of wood. I drove the car with the jacks in there, drove the car up to there, then I just lifted the jack and he lifted the car, put some stands underneath, and I'm going to try to see if I can adjust the linkage for the sensor to bring the reading close to the other reading. That's my plan. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, this should be done on a completely flat surface, should be done on a bed, so I'm gonna do the best as I can, but ultimately, yeah, I might try to go again at the end of the road, same place, and see if I can center the wheels 100% between the center of the wheel to the bottom of, yeah, to the wheel arch, that measurement there. I'll try to do it again to get 100% where it was. It was now when I was doing the level measurement, but obviously it failed because that sensor was completely out. So we're going to try to bring that sensor within the range, and then we're going to do it and try to see if we can get that correct. Okay, so that starts to make some sense. So this is completely seized. I had to remove this from the sensor. Let me just try to show you. If I put the camera like this, oh, it's not easy. So it does have this aftermarket linkage, because I guess because of the suspension, but everything was seized. An absolutely nightmare to adjust this, and I think maybe everything was good because this was not moving, was just because this was not actually moving. Let me see if I can show you this. So the problem was, if I can put the phone here and I can show you, I think what was happening, now it makes sense. What was happening is this was tied on the sensor, and as this was trying to go up and down, because this was not allowing it to move, this was actually coming down and was bending the lever of the sensor, so the sensor was not reading right. So we're going to release all of these here. The bottom one is released. It was actually okay, it's just the top one. I'm going to go on the vise, try to see if I can maybe take these off, and like that. And now to see if I can make this to move, because it's not very good, not very good like this. Okay, and the last clip was probably crap, but as you can see now it's completely freely, it's moving absolutely fine. So all I'm going to do now is grease the ball joint and push this back in. I don't know why I'm trying to pull this out, but it's not coming out, so I don't want to mess things up. I think there is a position that this is supposed to come out when you take that pin here on the side. It should come out, but anyway, we're going to put a little bit. There's a lot of play on this thing as well, not a lot, there is a tiny bit of play, which it can mess the readings obviously, but we're going to put some grease, push this back in, put everything in place, and see if we can make it to work. So after I have put everything back on, that linkage, put it all back on, everything tightened up. So what I've done, guys, was before I set everything, I was looking on the live data and I've set. So what I've done is I measured the car exactly where it was on top of those plank of wood and the jack. So what I've done is I measured the opposite side, which was this side, driver side. I measured the distance between the wheel arch and the center of the wheel, and then I measured the other side, and basically it was about 2-3 millimeters difference, where the wheel I was working on was slightly higher, so the distance was a little bit longer. It was about 3 millimeters difference. So what I've done was, when I locked that linkage in place, because that linkage is adjustable as you've seen, I've put it, I was looking on live data and I set it 3 millimeters more than the other side, so that should give me the correct height for the car. So from there, what I've done is I came back here to do another calibration, but this time I had to do the washer bank, because I had faults in there for the precious calibration, for you name it. So I had to do an initial startup, which pretty much takes me through every single calibration, and in the end the only calibration I had to do extra was the lateral acceleration sensor, whatever that was. I think I've showed you earlier. So it was the only thing that was still left to do. So I've done all of that, everything's successful. And if you guys are familiar with this, you know that there is one calibration I had to make up the figures, because you need this tool. I believe this is a photo of the actually Mercedes tool, which is called an inclinometer, which basically measures the angles, the angle of the car, of the wheels, sorry. And yes, I didn't have this, so I had to make up the numbers. I put the number roughly halfway through what the car is expecting to see. I can't remember all the numbers now, but I think the rear was between minus 4.5 and minus 0.5, so I put like a halfway number, and I put the same for the front, although the front was expecting to see something different. So that's what I've done, because I don't have that tool. But look, the car sits literally, I'm going to show you. So this is how the car sits. It's a little bit lower. I can't put two fingers. If I do it like that maybe, but it's a little bit lower than it was initially when the car was brought to me. But I think the reason is because the front was so sunk initially that would probably pull that a little bit up, maybe, I don't know. But to be honest with you, I think it looks much better like this. And then here we have pretty much the same. Yeah, same height, front and rear. And then I'll show you the other side. Same. And then at the back is a little bit less than the front, as you can see. I can barely get my two fingers there, but the car it sits really well. Yes, I do agree. To do this perfect, I would have to take the car to a true flat surface and use the proper tools to do it. But look, I don't have those. I can only tell the guy, look, I did what I could with what I have. Yeah, the surface here, is the best I can find. I measured the entire car. I think I have about 2 millimeters difference, or 1 millimeter actually. It is not even 2 millimeters difference between the lowest wheel and the highest wheel, okay? And they are in the corner, so I think is that one that's a little bit, I think that is 38 point, let me see if I get this correct, 38 centimeters and no 38, so it's 357 millimeters I think, and that one is 356 or something like that. I know it's about a millimeter difference between the highest and the lowest, and the other ones are just spot on, so I think it's because of the surface. But I'm going to show you now here that, where is that thing now, ADS suspension, there is no faults. I will go into the module just so I can show you again. There we go, there's no faults on the car, and the car is sitting really well. The only thing I want to make sure is not going to happen, which is what happened earlier, which is when I turned the car off and restarted, the car sinks again. I'm hoping that that's not going to happen, so I'm going to turn off the car now here, then I'm going to let the car to go to sleep, and then start it up, go for a drive, make sure the car drives with no faults. And even because it will be nice to go for a drive with this thing. but yeah, I'll go for a drive, just make sure the car drives okay. And there is, as you've seen already, there's a few faults on these modules, but guys, I was not asked to look at anything else. I'm going to look at those, just curiosity, but I'm not going to touch anything else. This is the only thing I was asked to look at, so that's the only thing we're going to do. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it really for now. Yeah, the car is fixed for now, and that's it. So let me see if this is definitely a fix. I'll get back to you in a second. And I just got back home. Obviously the car here is not leveled, but as you can see is okay. The floor here is completely uneven, but the car drove absolutely fine. So I left the car to go to sleep, waited about maybe 20 minutes, started up, the car was fine, drove, the car drives absolutely perfect. Before I went through all the trouble codes, because there was some codes in there, well, it was coming up with intelligent light system unavailable or something like that, and I thought that's strange because I never seen that before. It was all to do because of the fact that the suspension was throwing all those calibration issues, and obviously that affected loads of stuff, was codes everywhere. But as soon as I cleared everything was gone, and this thing drove absolutely fine, no issues, and it drives beautifully. It's so easy to get in love with this car. It really is, guys, trust me. If I drive it for a little bit longer, I might want one. Right, so the faults in here now. So we do have a few faults for the engine, as you can see. I'm not going to show you the faults, but they are all to do with the exhaust flaps and things like that. This thing is straight, okay? Is pops, bangs, you name it. This thing sounds absolutely incredible, and I can tell you this is a straight exhaust. Transmission, let's see if I can put it here maybe. Transmission, there is a code for oil pump. Don't know if it's for some auxiliary pump, I'm not really sure. What's the SAM code? I know the steering column is for the heated steering wheel, so obviously this steering wheel looks to me like it's an aftermarket, even though I think this is aftermarket. It's not heated. I can't see anywhere where to turn on the heating, so I'm guessing this connects through it needs this thing for the steering wheel connected to the OBD2 to give you the engine RPM, etc., to activate these things. As you can see now, they are not activated, and it's coming up with an error for the steering heating element or something like that. And the front SAM, I can't remember what the front SAM was for now, but I will show you anyway. I checked here now, I forgot. Yeah, something like that, like the lithium ion started battery has a malfunction, the message is missing. Not really sure, but to be fair with you, all this stuff was already here, so I'm not too bothered with this. But for the suspension, this is fixed. It's fixed. There's nothing else to say. So yeah, and as I said, I drove the car, drives fine, the car is maintaining the level, and that's all that matters for now. So what else to say? That's it. There's nothing else to say really. So as you've seen, guys, in the end, it was what caused all these issues really was in this case was the aftermarket stuff that was installed. Don't take me wrong, an original linkage could get rust to the point where it locks and it starts to throw problems. We have seen that in the past, not just on the Mercedes but on Land Rovers and stuff, or Range Rovers, so it is a common thing. In this case was those aftermarket links that caused the issue, and I'm guessing the fact that he was using those coilovers to lower the car slightly, I think. but yeah, that's it. So enough for the ado, guys. I think we're gonna wrap up this because the car is fixed and there's nothing else to do on this. And yeah, a really nice car. It's just a shame that is no bad look after, but look at that, really. Anyway, I'm gonna get a tool just to tie these things here at the back a little bit, just to make them to look a little bit better, but that's it. So what else to say? Nothing. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do still have any comments or any questions, you know exactly how it works, just put them below. Hope you learned something. Maybe you didn't, maybe you did, don't know. And like always, guys, thanks for watching.